In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the upcoming D&D 50th Anniversary Secret Lairs, which officially released this Monday. So let's take a look at the 5 and see if there's good value, if it's worth your time, and what they've got to offer. Let's get into it. Everybody, thanks so much for being here. I do appreciate each and every one of you taking the time to watch the video. Please be sure to hit that like button if you do enjoy, and then click the subscribe button if you want to be subscribed. Click the bell icon if you want to be notified when new videos are posted. Kind of the same, song and dance every video, but I do really appreciate it. We have been growing quite a bit, so I very much appreciate those of you taking the time to watch and interact, and I try to respond to as many comments as I possibly can. So I just want you guys to know that it is very much appreciated. So, with the Secret Lair, obviously, I feel like we've had a lot of Secret Lair drops, but I think it's just the normal, it just feels like there's a lot, and I know there's some special editions. I just did a video covering the Festival in a Box Secret Lair. If you guys haven't seen that one, check it out. But this one is really cool if you're a fan of D&D. There are 5 different Secret Lairs that are going to be coming out. We're going to look at all of them today, and I'm not going to do like as in-depth of a dive just because the video would end up being super long. But what we're going to do is look at the reprints, look at the overall value of the cards, and then kind of factor in, the reprints alone are not what determines whether or not a Secret Lair is good, but it does give you a solid baseline. If you like the art and you want to get them, you want to know if you're making a worthwhile investment. These being a 50th anniversary, this being a limited edition product, there's a lot of other factors in play. But let's just take a look at it, starting off with Aions Thirst, which is a very funny title, because I'm sure there's plenty of people thirsting over Astarion. Obviously, the Baldur's Gate game came out, I think it was it last year or the year before? I don't recall. It was either 22 or 23, I don't remember. Time is a construct. I think it was 23, but I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, Astarion, definitely a very popular character here, and this is a pretty well-rounded Secret Lair in terms of the cards they've chosen to include. You've got Astarion himself, which was up to this point only printed in the Baldur's Gate set from 2022. He is about 50 cents, so we're not looking at a crazy value here, but still not bad just to kind of have that card. I think this will obviously be the most expensive version of him. It is a popular commander. It is a popular card in general. So I think this is one where just because the value of the actual other print is low, it doesn't really mean too much with this card. We've got Exquisite Blood, which is a really, really good card. It is a key part of so many black strategies in Commander. And just an overall, it's part of a bazillion, infinite loops and stuff. Really good card. It's been reprinted a couple of times, but it hasn't done a significant dent to its value. This is about $19 right now. So $19 for the cheapest variant of Exquisite Blood that you can get puts us at $19.50 so far for the total value of the Secret Lair. We've got Sanguine Bond, another really good card, actually kind of goes infinite with Exquisite Blood, which is funny. This was reprinted in Wilds of Eldraine and the Enchanting Tales, and I think it might have been in a Commander deck as well. This is about $3 at the cheapest, so a good card for sure, but not, crazy hard to get. Anguished Unmaking, a really good removal card for the Orzhov decks. It's pretty widely played, but it's also pretty easily accessible. Was in a couple of the Masters sets. It's about $1, so not, nothing crazy like I said, but it's also a decent inclusion, and it obviously fits thematically with what they're trying to do here. And then we've got Mortify. Mortify is about 25 cents, and it's been printed a bazillion times. It is a good card. It does have, a couple of higher versions, but even the most expensive version of it is probably the Magic Player promo version of it, and that one's like $1. This will probably end up being the most expensive version of Mortify just because it hasn't really had a premium print otherwise. But it's $23.75 worth of cards in the Secret Lair. Now, we don't know the prices, but I assume it's going to be the same price as a normal Secret Lair. But the thing I'm not sure about is whether or not there's going to be foil and non-foil. I would assume that it will be both. So these are all just using the non-foil comparisons. But there's not a massive difference between those two things either way. So it's obviously one of those things where it comes down to your preference. If you're buying the regular one at $30, you're not losing a ton on value, but you're probably going to make up for it with, the actual demand and popularity that Astarion has. So yeah, it's an overall decent Secret Lair. I would give this one a grade of a B. I think it's got solid inclusion. It's got a pretty good reprint card in Exquisite Blood, and then it's got some unique artwork and at least playable cards in its reprint. So we're going to give this one a B. All right, next up we've got the Carnage Rage, and this one is very popular, obviously another very popular character. I feel like that's kind of the case for any of the characters in the Baldur's Gate game. I think there's 2 or 3 of the secret lairs that kind of are based, have a lot of that, whereas some of the other ones are based more on the manuals and stuff, which we'll get to. But I know a lot of people are excited about this one, and honestly, I have to say it's with good reason, because this is a pretty damn solid secret lair overall. We're primarily focusing on just the base value for the normal versions of these, but Karlach at the cheapest is about $8, so a really good card. Obviously can be a devastating game finisher in certain decks. I know just like the additional combat phase is great, but additional combat phase with also for strike, great artwork. It's got pretty much everything you'd be looking for in a card like that, you know, from a design perspective, play perspective, etc. City on Fire is about $4 at the cheapest. That card was actually printed in March of the Machine. So first reprint for it here. There are a few other cards that do similar things, except this can be cast with Convoke, which does give you some more options to bring it out. Really good, really, like, just a solid card, period. And it eventually is one of those cards that, without having any of the reprints, would probably go up as the, you know, if the demand increased. We've got Stranglehold, another one. Opponents can't search libraries, definitely pretty restrictive, and it does shut off extra turns, so good against, you know, those blue decks that have all the extra turn shenanigans. It's about $5. Thrill of Possibility, unfortunately, not exactly a money card at around $0.25, but it is a very good card that does see play, and certainly, you know, having a blinged out version of it with some nice artwork is not a bad thing. We're really shining here with this secret lair is with Dolmen Gate. So Dolmen Gate is, this artwork is insane. Dolmen Gate is around $19 at the cheapest, which puts us at about $36 overall for the secret lair, which, you know, is more than the cost. Again, assuming they don't mark these up because they're D&D, like if they're just a normal price. Here's where it's interesting, though. The foil version of Dolmen Gate is actually over $100. So if you're purchasing the foil version of this, and ideally, you know, again, because people are going to comment this, and I know that it's not a one-for-one comparison, and that the cards in the secret lair are not necessarily going to carry the same value as something old from Lorwyn. But the point is, if you want a foil version of Dolmen Gate, you're shelling out big bucks right now. But you can get it for a lot less by buying the secret lair, while also getting some other cards that are good if this is something that's interesting to you. So I have to say, this is a win for me on both fronts. I think this is easily an A- product. There's a lot of good reprints, there's a lot of good art, and nothing in here is inherently terrible, and you probably make out okay on the foil or non-foil versions, which is something that's definitely a benefit when factoring in whether or not it's worth it to buy. So I'm going A- on this one. All right, number 3 is the Exhibition of Adventure, and there's a couple notes I want to make about this. I don't think this is going to be a normal price secret lair because it does have 7 cards. My guess is that it's probably going to be a $50 product, but I don't know that for sure. It's just speculation based on some of the previous ones where they've had larger card assortments. If this is 7 cards and it's only 30 or 40 or whatever, that's awesome. Just, you know, right off the bat, it's a good value, and honestly, you know, the way they should do things more often, but just based on the specialty nature of this product, as well as the amount of cards in it, I'm going to assume this is going to cost more than the $30. Just something I wanted to mention quickly, because I don't know yet what the prices are going to be, and obviously these haven't gone up. So this is all speculation, but let's look at the cards inside. So we've got Acerak the Archlich. Artwork is phenomenal here. And again, if you're looking for these just for art, you're absolutely in the right place. They knocked it out of the park with these. Even the ones that look kind of cursed look really cool nonetheless. But this card is about $5, so we'll put that up there on the screen. And one of the things here that is worth noting is all 7 of these are based on different like manuals or guides or the different editions of D&D, which is just, again, really cool attention to detail and really cool from a flavorful perspective. Goldspan Dragon looks amazing. I know I've said this a few times. The artists just deserve to be commended for how good these look. Goldspan, an insanely good card, but it has seen quite a bit of reprints lately. It's around $8 at the cheapest, so not bad, but it's a card that could always go back up over time, and a more premium version of it will definitely do better than some of the other ones, I think. So I think it's fair to say this will probably perform quite well. Fell the Mighty is about $0.25, but it's another instance of a card that, like, is good, has its uses, and will probably stand out a bit due to its unique nature with the art. So just something to consider. Ponder is unbelievable. My favorite artwork out of this entire 7 here. I don't really know how to price Ponder because it's obviously been printed a bunch and it does have some budget copies, but it's also been printed in 3 other secret lairs, and every secret lair copy is at least 10. So I'm going to operate under the assumption that we're going to be looking at around that here and use the secret lair values for Ponder of $10 at the cheapest, because I do think that's probably where this will start, but I think it has potential to go higher, or it could go lower. I mean, I'm not an expert on this. This is just based on sort of informed speculation and sort of looking around at trends and how things have gone, but I think that's probably a fair assessment. Reality Shift, another really, really cool looking one, but this is about a quarter of the cheapest. Even the borderless one from Commander Masters has some really nice art and is only a little bit. This is Secret Lair, FOMO, all that stuff is going to factor in, but Faithless Looting, I don't love the art on this one particularly, but again, just a generically great card with a bazillion different reprints, about 50 cents. Can't factor that in hugely. This, again, I'm not going to keep repeating it every time, but it could be that a premium version of a card like Faithless Looting will just do better, period. And then Monster Manual, which is an insanely underrated card in my opinion, is about $3 at the cheapest, but this artwork is awesome. I don't think I'll be buying this secret lair necessarily, but I will be buying a single copy of that Monster Manual once some of the singles are available online, because I just think it's such a cool card. We're looking at about $27 in total value for the non-foil versions of all of these cards at their cheapest, and the foil variations is not significant enough. Again, I have to assume that these are going to come in foil and non-foil, but if they're not, this at least gives you an example of sort of the bottoming out point. This is definitely going to be a secret lair that you're probably only going to buy if you're really interested in the art and you want to collect the cards. I don't think it's necessarily going to be one that's like a crazy value grab. Again, could be wrong. Please don't buy solely based on that, because I am far from an expert, but I am just giving sort of my takes on it. I think it's a decent product. I think the artwork is awesome, and I think from an overall design perspective, it's great, but the reprint choices certainly could have been a little better if they are going to charge more than the normal price for this. I'm going to give this a C+. I think it has some amazing artwork. I don't think the value is there, but again, that's not all that goes into the secret lair, so that's my grade for this. Alright, next up, we've got Dungeons & Dragons Death is in the Eyes of the Beholder 1. So this one's actually pretty cool. It's very unique art, and I like it. Obviously, the Xanathar is just a whole acid trip worth of artwork right there. A pretty cool card, though, to start us off. It's around $3 at the cheapest, so not crazy value. The most expensive version of Xanathar that I could find is the ampersand version, which was obviously limited in quantities and I think only available at conventions. So definitely not, the best comparison, but also currently the most premium version. This is a popular card, although it is annoying as hell to play against, for whatever that's worth. We've got Blood Money, which is about $1, so not the craziest value, but a really fun card in Rakdos Treasure, and just decent-ish as a whole. Not great in token strategies necessarily, although you can play this with like Chatterfang and still plus a ton off of what you're doing with those. Beholder's Charm Ray is Bribery, which is about $5, so at least a decent reprint. Good card, cool artwork. Nothing, crazy so far. This does have 6, so again, not sure how that's going to price out. Hopefully it'll be normal. They won't go crazy with it. Delay, which is Beholder's Slowing Ray, is about $2.50, so we're at $11.50. Not bad, but not great. Stifle's the best one in here, which is around $15 at the cheapest, so at least there's a bit of added value to kind of buff us up into some better numbers. And then Drown in the Lock is about $1. However, I will note that there is a secret lair version of it that is around $10. So perhaps this secret lair version will follow suit, especially if people like the artwork and kind of the chaos that's going on with it. But if you're just getting an estimate of the value of the reprinted cards in here, we're under $30, which is the cost of secret lair at a minimum. So I can't necessarily recommend this one for value, but I can say that if you like the artwork and you like the designs, it's definitely, interesting. This one doesn't really interest me all that much. I think it's probably one where if I wanted anything, I'd just grab the singles, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a grade of a C. I think it's aggressively fine. I'm not like offended by the cards inside or anything like that, where I'm like, how could they expect you to pay this much for this? But it's not blowing me away either. So I guess truly beauty is in the eye of the beholder on this product, and you'll have to make that decision for yourself. Alright, finally we've got Dungeons & Dragons Death is in the Eyes of the Beholder 2. So this one obviously is directly similar to the first one. Obviously, this is different color combinations, but they're kind of going the same way, where it's all based around that. I'm a little bit bummed that they made 2 specifically devoted to the Beholder, just because I do feel like there were some other characters they left out that perhaps could have made for another more interesting secret lair. But if people are into this, that's great. From a value perspective, we've got Karazakar, the Eye Tyrant. It's about $6 at the cheapest, so not bad. Only has 1 print, so I guess, you know, decent enough. Pretty good card. Another annoying one, which I guess just fits thematically with, like, Beholder fights, typically. We've got Defile, which is a really good card, and this is a sick artwork. It's my favorite out of this entire secret lair here. Defile, unfortunately, is only about $1, but still, it's good. It's only got a couple of prints. It's nice to see another reprint here for it, I guess, and will likely end up doing well because it is going to be the highest premium version of that. Oubliette is around $3. I might have mispronounced that name, so I apologize in advance if I did. We've got Snuff Out, which is about $8. Now, this does have a premium version of itself, and it is a Surge foil, so from the Doctor Who, so I mean, you know, kind of hit or miss there in terms of whether or not you're into that sort of thing, but it's still worth, I think, mentioning that exists. So this one could end up going over everything else. I suppose we'll have to see. And then we've got Bling, which is about 15 cents, so there's that. I mean, that card, I feel like that card's been printed a bazillion times, and just is not crazy value, but it's also not terrible. And then lastly, we've got Fire Covenant, which is about $6. That's only been printed in Ice Age, and then in the Secret Lair. The Secret Lair one's like $25, so it could end up doing well for itself over time. Just, again, trying to paint the picture for value. The one thing I do want to mention here is that the Snuff Out, the Mercadian Masks foil version, which is ancient at this point, is well over $150. So if you want a foil version of the card, certainly your options are limited. There is the Surge foil, but if you wanted to, you know, kind of stick within the non-universes beyond, want to play universes within, the only way to get a foil version of that is to shell out the big bucks there for that one. So this will be nice to have access to another foil version for those who are interested in it. But, I mean, and technically speaking, this is a Universes Beyond-ish product, too. I know it's not actually, but, I mean, it is, for all intents and purposes, another IP, even though Wizards owns both. But again, it is a really, really cool concept for the Secret Lair. I just kind of wish they had done maybe 1 Beholder instead of 2, but that's kind of nitpicking. I think in terms of the value on this, it's probably going to be right around the same. I'd say a B-. I think some of the cards have more potential, though, long-term, which is why I wanted to give it a little bit higher of a grade. As a whole, I think the Secret Lair drop is okay. It's not the craziest drop, and honestly, for the 50th anniversary, I definitely think there could have been some improvements in certain areas, but I don't want to be too nitpicky. My absolute recommendation, if you are going to grab one and can only get one, is the Carnage Rage. I think that one will do the best value-wise over time, but there are a lot of good options here, and certainly a few decent reprints too, and Astarion could easily end up being another high-performing Secret Lair, so let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below of the Secret Lairs. Are you planning on ordering any? Remember, it is a first come first serve sort of thing, so be on the lookout on Monday for when that goes up, so that if you guys want to have a chance to get it, you hopefully can get on there and it won't be too crazy. No idea what that's going to look like, but I'm hoping everyone will have the best of luck there. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.